It is 5:30. We'll call the meeting to order. Let's stand and pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, we come to you tonight thanking you for the bountiful blessings that you bestow on us every day. We thank you for the wonderful community, the support, the students, and we pray that everyone has a wonderful first day of school. In your name, amen.
Amen.
Is there anyone here that wants to talk to us? No?
Mr. Frazier does.
That's it. All right, we're going to go to Darrell Frazier.
This is the notice of the public meeting? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Darrell, this is impressive. Oh,
Well,
we're going
yes,
first.
this one right here.
Look at this, y'all. It's amazing. Everything you
Okay.
ever want to know.
So this is an information item only. This is the notice that was sent to the newspapers today. We're going to advertise in the Waco Tribune and in the Gatesville Messenger. The reason for that is in order to make the 10-day time frame between the printing of the paper and the meeting on the August 21st, we needed to get it into another paper besides the Gatesville Messenger. It's the first time we could get it into the Gatesville Messenger was Saturday. So we're going to get this on Thursday into the Tribune to meet that requirement. So this is the notice that will be in the paper, and it reflects a maintenance and effort tax rate of 0.6992. We're going to maintain the INS rate at 0.20. So the grand total will be a tax rate of 8992. This 6992 includes 3 golden pennies that we'll go to the voters for in November. Those golden pennies are going to yield us about 1.3 million. So it's a significant revenue item for the school district. They're called enrichment pennies, and hopefully that's what it's going to do to Gatesville ISD. It's going to enrich us and help us to pay teachers better and help us to make good budgets and be able to provide all the different departments what they need in order to educate our kids properly. The next little paragraph there talks about the comparison of the proposed budget with last year's. This represents about a 7.5% budget increase, maintenance and operations. Debt service is almost a break even, very small decrease. The total expenditures is just a little over 7% increase from last year. This here gives you the taxable property values. It also discloses our bonded indebtedness as of the end of August, which is just a little under 19 million, which includes 3 bonds. On the flip side, we have last year's rates. You see there it was M&O, INS, and a total of 1.046. This next year proposed rate is going to be 6,992 plus 20 for a total of 8,996, about 16 cents less than last year's. Then they do a market analysis on the average home. The taxes will go down $377 based on the new tax that we're proposing. The next one is the voter approval. It's just showing you that the highest rate that we can set the rate on the tax rate is 8,692 without a TRE or voter election. So we already know that we're going to proceed with the voter election in November. And then the last thing they show here is our approximate fund balance. This is something that we project between now and August 31, so it's not an exact fund balance. This number is not going to show on your audit report. It's somewhat different, but this is my projection, what our fund balances will end as of the end of August for M&O and INS. Any questions about the public notice? And this all relates to the meeting that we'll have on August 21 at 5 o'clock. And this will be the big meeting that we normally have almost at the very end of the month, where we approve the budget, we approve the tax rate and a number of other house cleaning items like fund balance designations and so forth. But we want you to have this so you see it with your own eyes before it hits the paper. So you get questions about it. Right here, do you have any questions for me on this?
So I guess main talking points, Daryl. So when we're gonna have to sell this like we did the bond package, we can't just rest on our laurels and, well, I hope they vote for it. And so big talking points for the 3 pennies would be the fact that that average decrease in taxes is $377 a home. Was that on a $100,000 home, Daryl?
No, that's on the average home. I think it shares it with the average home is 247.
247. Okay.
Now, question.
Yes, sir.
I think Dr. Pollard said that the legislature passed tax relief of your homestead being
Yes.
decreased by $100,000 before they tax you.
You have to vote on that in November as well.
So that's not in the books for this coming tax
Yes, it
year.
is. We've gone ahead and predicted the 100,000.
Okay, so that's
That's
it's already
basically
been
figured
included in
in.
that
Mhm.
100,000,
Yeah.
I guess 65 and over or whatever.
Ironically, they make you vote on that. To me, it would be a no-brainer. Who doesn't want their homestead exemption raised from 40 to 100,000? But that will be something that Justin Crothers has on the ballot, and then are voting for the tax rate for the school district to get those 3 cents. We got it too.
So we just hope when they're in the mood to vote yes,
Yeah.
well, that increase in the
And the
homestead
tax rate,
exemption, that they're going to vote yes on the 3 cents.
Do we get it lowered again or hold it the same? Do we
Well, the
increase it?
whole thing's going down 16 cents.
16 cents.
Yeah.
Even
Net
with
16.
3 cents.
Net 16. It would have gone down 19, but we're wanting 3 back for a net of 16. And we don't have to do this every November. It's just this one November. But you get the 3 cents from then on.
It's a good time to do
Because this is the biggest tax compression we have seen in recent years, for a lot of years, maybe ever.
This will be extremely important for the long-term health, financial health of the
So
school.
the majority of what we're asking for on the pennies is to support teacher pay.
Correct. There's looming, the federal money left over from COVID and all that is going by. And so that's 600 grand at least that we will no longer have. We use that to pay people's salaries. So if you want to avoid people not coming back through attrition, people leave, we don't fill it. I mean, that's what we're trying to prevent.
it. So what, in one sentence, it's the state who's lowering your taxes 19%?
19 cents.
I mean, 19 cents,
Yes.
yeah.
Present.
But the 3 pennies, we're gonna keep.
We want you to give us 3 pennies back.
Yeah, you're not getting as much as the state says you can get,
Correct.
but we're getting 3 pennies of it.
Yeah. If you find it in your heart to give us 3 pennies back, it
Mhm.
avoid us having to attrition out people and things like that.
And one big reason for that is the legislature didn't really adequately finance schools.
Yeah,
That's it.
this is the way, I mean,
So this is one way Gatesville ISD can take care of itself
yeah.
through our community, help and support.
Now, we'll say this very loud, but what happens if the 3 pennies don't happen?
What
We've
happens
already got
if
it.
3 pennies don't get approved?
Just set up for that.
This
Our
is the
budget
balance.
is based on no pennies.
No.
Our budget for next year. So we certainly didn't budget for that 1.3 million.
I already have it spent, Jim.
He's already knows how to spend it. Half of it, toward the Esser cliff,
Yeah.
600,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions? I mean, it's going to come up. It's going to be
Well,
hit up by the local taxpayers.
I think the ESSER stuff has a lot to do with presentation to the community too.
We were facing, 600,000 personnel cuts.
Yeah,
Well, and how could you be any more stingy than the state? The state has its normal budget, all that money, plus 33 billion that they said, we're not going to give you any of that.
I'm assuming our teachers know this.
Yes. I told them in convocation.
Okay.
Hey, they better get out and vote,
Yeah,
because that's a lot of
yeah.
it. That's 600 votes right
Yeah,
there.
that's what I'm
Help me
talking
with
about.
my.
Charles?
This is 16 or 19 cents, what, per 100 or
Per 100.
per 100?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And it's being held
That's
out.
M and O.
Okay.
INS, we're holding that the same.
You know, another good talking point is if you give us the 3 pennies, your taxes are still gonna go down.
A lot.
Yeah.
So this is a golden opportunity for the school district to act,
It'd be nice to
and for our community to stand behind our school district.
give our teachers.
Gatesville needs a strong Gatesville ISD. Questions?
And if it doesn't pass, we'll blame it on Leanne. So,
She can get us out of the hole.
Extracurricular status of 4-H.
Daryl, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll be quick.
Okay.
All right, we had just a few housekeeping items before we got to Daryl's budget workshop. So this is an every year thing, but we wanted to go ahead and knock it out. The 3 4-H teachers that act as basically adjunct faculty. It's Robert Ferguson, Becky Coward, and Donna Schwausch. And so my recommendation is that the board approve the resolution allowing 4-H to be considered an extracurricular, as well as approve that the extension staff be considered adjunct faculty so we can take attendance and all that good stuff.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Mary Ann, seconded by Jimmy. Any further questions? All in favor? All right. Dress code.
Facial hair. I called the lawyers, Charles.
Okay.
So I talked to the lawyers, and they agreed with all of our thought processes. I talked to Tyler Ezell, and he said, I get what y'all are saying about the subjectivity of it's trim or clean or lose what, all that. He said, just strike it. And I said, well, we also, there's a little bit of consternation about, well, do we just go ahead and say clean shaven? No, you're not going to have anything. He said, that's not the way things are going. And like we've talked about before, commenting on people's physical appearance, he said, I just wouldn't get it. He said, hair is such a touchy subject right now. The way you've got it, if you'll strike that phrase, he said, to me, you'd be safe. And so, when we talked to the principals, they didn't have any big malfunctions with it. That's what the year was for. Did you have all kinds of grief and turmoil and disruptions to the class over whiskers? And you heard them say, no, we didn't. So, what do y'all think about that? Just good with saying it's just facial hair. We're
Smart way to go.
still saying no unnatural colored hair. Can't have pink, purple, green. Still sticking with no nose rings, just the little studly thing there so they can keep the hole open. And it seems like the kids were more willing to comply with everything else when you cut them a little bit of slack with that. So. Any discussion on that?
So the colored hair.
That's not in all of this. The main thing I wanted to bring to y'all was because I know y'all have been concerned about that phrase.
Yeah.
And so my recommendation would be just strike it. Just say facial hair is allowed.
Well, last time we discussed what a burden that puts on those administrators, and it's very judgmental. So my opinion is you might as well scratch it.
I don't agree with it.
Well, Charles vote against it.
Well, I think I might.
That's okay. You just got to stick up for your constituents.
I
Any
mean,
other?
if it's not something they can enforce, it's not worth having.
A beard is not hard to enforce. Number one, you're only talking about a very small percentage. And number two, that beard doesn't go out of code overnight. You see a beard out of code or whatever, you say, hey, appreciate you taking care of this by tomorrow. If it don't, then hand them a razor when they walk in the door. But you're not talking about a large majority. I don't know.
Anything else?
Okay. Do I have a person, anybody who wants to make a motion to strike it? Mary Ann, seconded by Linda. Any further discussion? All in favor?
I'm the truth.
All opposed?
Stay.
5-2 ain't that. Thank y'all.
Abstain.
Okay, abstain.
Yeah.
5, 1, and 1.
So abstain or against?
Abstain or
abstained
against, Jimmy? Okay, so 5, 1, and 1. All right. less controversial topic, grading guidelines. So
6 weeks, right?
well, Charles is still at
Oh, you're a pain
1972. So this doesn't have to do with the reporting period, but this has to do with the amount of daily grades. So the teachers wanted to add one more daily grade. During the COVID pandemic, we had 9 daily and 3 major, and you drop one of the dailies. They're wanting to add, the minimum is 10 daily grades, you drop one, but letting the teachers know you could take 12, you could take 15, you could even drop more than one, so long as you had a minimum of 10 taken and 1 dropped. So that's not very different than what we've been doing, but I wanted to at least give y'all a heads up that is a little bit more flexibility. They do have to get one more daily grade. And I stress to the teachers, let's do stuff to try to help the kids as far as, you know, if you want to take a bunch more grades, 15, 20 grades, we'll consider dropping more than just one.
So that would be their decision.
They just, once they've hit the minimum threshold, we give them all the latitude. So same with major, they'll take a minimum of 3, but they might want to take 5 and they drop 1. But so long as you've got 3, that's what we're looking for. So 10 and 3, 10 and 3. So I recommend the board approve the grading guidelines as presented.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
When you do these 6 weeks, 12 weeks or whatever, I know they send out reports to the teachers. I think they do a pretty good job.
They do.
I'll be honest with you. But do we tell them you base that ineligibility or failing grade on what they have right now today?
Yeah.
Not,
Right. Yeah. Keaton and Phillips are real good about warning them the time is coming, it's looming. They'll send out emails to the district. And the new ones that maybe are unfamiliar, like, well, how does this all work? They go and help them. So I know that, and I know Shauna Martin on the girls' side, and Ricky and Aaron at the high school, they'll do a great job.
I think they do a good job. I still like seeing a grade on the report card as a record. Personally.
They and we have had real good passing rates too the past few years.
That's good.
Do I hear a motion? Calvin. Do I hear a second? Linda. Any further discussion of the grading? All in favor? All right, we got it. Now we're on attendance.
This is just what time of the day does each campus take their official attendance? We've got to set that before the year starts. And so the only change was primary moved theirs up a little bit. I think last year was around 9:30, 9:40. They wanted to do theirs at 9. You can see elementary's at 10:05, intermediate 9:30, junior high 9:40, high school 9:40. And they've put in quite a bit of thought of this because they're always trying to capture when do we think we'll get the most of them here. And so they talked to their attendance secretaries and their assistant principals, and this is what they've come up with. And so I would recommend that the board approve the daily campus attendance snapshot times as presented.
Questions?
Question. When you have these snapshots, do you have like a break and a change of class, beginning of a class, when they will be taking attendance?
It's not right at the bell, I don't believe, the terminal of like a transition or something.
Primary.
But they also, typically they'll ring they'll make a little noise or something for the little ones, like the little guy teachers, so they know. And oftentimes you'll hear Sandra Brown, all right, teachers, we need you to take your attendance.
It's not as hard as primary and elementary because they're not
Right.
changing classes like junior high and high school and intermediate. I'll just throw out what they did at event. It worked great because we had it. But they would have it set like at the beginning of the second period, and they had a little time built into the second period to get there and get reported and get your attendance, and then you start class.
Yeah.
But it was a set time, and you had your announcements.
I think ours are tied with announcements.
Yeah, we're tied to announcements, and then the end of the announcements is always teacher.
Take your attendance, yeah, we do that.
Attendance,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it's good to have a little landmarker to where it reminds you every
Right.
time.
Okay.
Do I hear a motion on attendance? Jimmy now, okay. Do I hear a second? Yeah, Shine. All in favor? Anybody opposed? All right, let's go to local policy language edition.
This is just the odd little housekeeping thing. Our EHGE local policy, it's talking about earning credit for distance learning, like the Texas Virtual School Network. We just wanted to add a blurb on our policy basically saying, for additional information regarding distance learning, refer to the guidelines in the high school course catalog. So we put a lot of information in the course catalog, so we wanted parents to know, okay, if you're looking through this in policy, this isn't the only place we talk about it. Go look at the high school course catalog, because that's where we really go into depth. And so I ran that past Sarah Nye Connors, our guru in policy, TASB, and she said, yeah, just add that sentence, it's fine. So my recommendation would be for the board to approve that one single sentence to the EHGE local policy as presented.
Do I hear a recommendation? A motion? Okay. Motion made by Mariana, second. Calvin, any further discussion? All in favor? All right, Darrell, you're back up.
Okay. Ready for the 23-24 budget?
Yeah.
How many
All
minutes
right,
you got,
so-
Daryl?
What's that?
How many minutes I give you?
How many what?
Minutes I give you 10?
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you 10.
So I have two drafts.
20.
We gave you a draft on June 15th of a projected draft. It really hasn't changed very much in 2 months. The big thing here was between June and this draft, all the salaries were put together in a program called PMIS. And Scott and Yancy and Kinsey and Joyce Blanchard all worked extremely hard getting all these payroll numbers in there with the right codes. But, what's everybody going to be doing? Because if you're doing this particular job, it's a different code than this other job. And then when you put it all together, they give me a number. And I got that number about 2 days ago. It's like, hey, number was like 200,000 less than my projection. So you can see here where originally we had projected a 600,000 profit, it's now 800,000. Most of that 800,000 is in the INS fund. So we're going to be able to rat hole some money there to pay down debt. Whenever you guys get ready to pay down some debt, we're going to have some money in that fund balance of the INS to do exactly that. The child nutrition came back from a 0 to a $31,000 profit. And there again, that's probably as a result of the adjustment in salaries. The actual numbers came out, and that's what it showed. The general fund, we're now showing a profit of about $140,000. Now, we made a few changes to what we presented back in June. And I'll probably go through it with you on my spreadsheets. These spreadsheets right here, before we get to the center reports. So one of the big adjustments on revenues, of course, is what happens to the taxes. So now we're projecting the actual tax revenue, again, is without that 3 cents, okay? And so now we're talking about an overall budget revenue item of $32,665,000. And I'll show you two of those big items. One is the general fund, which you see there is $28,054,000.
Could you show us exactly which one you're on?
Right here.
Okay, thank you.
I'm on this form right here.
They all say page 1 of 1, so I just want to make sure.
Yeah, they're not, pages aren't numbered. So this is what we're looking at right here. It's probably the one right before that. Yeah. So on this income,
He's not on the right one. Nope, keep going that
it
way.
says district revenue budget summary. So,
It's the first page.
There you go.
okay? Okay. So you can see here the total revenues is $32,665. See that number? 32,665 under approved 23-24. All right, so there's two big numbers that are in that number. One is the general fund, 28 million. And the other one is in INS, seeking for $2,000,007. So on the next two sheets, I have those numbers separated out for you. First one was the general fund. The things most of that changed were the taxes. The original on the tax current year levy was 10 million. It's gone down to 7.5. On the state revenue, we had projected the per capita apportionment at 990. It looks like it's going to be about $1,027,000. And then the big foundation payment, 13.8 is what we had projected, and that's going to be 16,054. So there's your whole harmless, where they're providing us more income to make up for the loss in local taxes. So those are the big changes that were made on this sheet. Line 17, the TRS on behalf, we increased it from 1,000,005 to 1,589, and that's actual now. We have good numbers from the HR department. And then on the next sheet is the INS. And you can see the original projected revenue is almost 2.5. It's going to be down to 2.25. And then we're going to get more hold harmless on the INS side. Instead of 94,000, we're going to be getting almost 400,000. I highlighted those two numbers in red to show you those are the numbers that really changed from the June presentation. All right, any questions on the revenues? Back in June, we had no idea how to project the revenues. Legislature was fighting it out. We went through two different special sessions since the original session expired. And so now we're at the end of the second session. We're going to have a third one probably in October.
And that's not going to be financial, or that's going to be voucher?
I think they're going to hold us over the head with vouchers again.
I know that, yeah,
Yeah.
that, but you don't think it's going to pound the
I don't think
budget?
so. I really don't think they're going to come to an agreement. I think they're so locked in to their positions right now that they're not going to approve vouchers. And without the vouchers, he's not going to give teachers anymore. That's my prediction. Maybe I'm wrong, but don't count on it. All right, so now on the district appropriations, this is the spreadsheet here. This is one that we break it down by department. Okay. And I highlighted in green three major changes. There's the very top one, human resources. See that we had projected 24.2, and it's come in at 23.8. So that's less than what we had projected. So the HR department came in less than what we originally projected. We projected high. So one thing we've done was we've come in here to the transportation, line 15. And guess what we did? With his approval, another bus. So now we're going to be back to two buses, two new buses, which we got to do two buses every year, you know, to keep.
I thought you only got one every year.
No, we did two. Yeah. Two was the plan. You remember, two was the plan. And last year, I don't think we did any. And I had originally here one for next year. So now we're going to go for two, and this is like a quote as of today. And they're up.
Guess how much a bus? Guess how much a bus costs?
300,000.
No,
150.
you're getting close.
Was it 140?
130, I think.
130.
135, something in that range.
Well, there's a truck out at which comes at $100,000.
Yeah, a bus used to be about 100,000. Now it's
Yeah,
gone up.
they.
Well, at least we're not replacing all of them.
So I figured you guys as a board would be happy to know we're going to put two buses in the budget next year. All right, so, and then the other one was maintenance went up. This was as a result of the property and casualty insurance rates going up. And I only got those rates late Friday afternoon, finally. And so these numbers are fresh, based on just real current information. And then once we got all the numbers together and we pull the total expenditures by what we call PIC code, program intent code, then you have to make sure that, because we get revenues allotments from TEA that are specific to these different PIC codes. gifted and talented, special ed, Kate, and on and on. So what we have to do then is there's a required level of spending for each one of those pick codes. And so once I get all the budget together, then I'm going to run these numbers by pick code to see are we in the ballpark of what we're going to be required to spend next year. So the one that was short was Kate. We had cut $100,000 out of the Kate budget, hoping that we wouldn't need it. So when I ran the numbers, we discovered that no, we need the $100,000 in there to meet the required spending for Kate. So we went back and added it to the curriculum and instruction budget, which is Kate. So that's basically the changes that we made since June. Are y'all happy with those?
Would it be possible, I remember when we were ordering buses a few years back, we ordered one and it was this price, and then we ordered two and the number came way down. Two buses go to one. I think it reduced the cost if you order two. one.
Not right now. No,
We don't
it's
have to do
extremely
that.
competitive
I
right
don't
now.
We
do
asked-
that anymore.
We asked for the bid for two, so.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, so while we're here at this sheet, the very last sheet on the handout that I've given you, this is what will be posted on the website. We have to, after tonight, I'll go ahead and post this sheet right here on the website. We were required to have this posted before the August 21 meeting, so that the public can go on and kind of look at what's our proposed budget going to be looking like. So I have the 23 adopted budget on the left columns, and then the 24 budget on the right. And when you have per pupil, each one of those lines is divided by the pupil count. And so we got that. So is there anything out of the ordinary here? Total instruction went up from 5571 to 5877 per pupil. Instructional support, 1770 to 1896. Central administration, 498 to 547. Total district operations, 2448 to 28. A lot of that has to do with the two buses, to be honest with you. Debt service, almost identical, didn't change. And then we have the other, which went up a little bit. That's primarily the assessors, Coriol County Assessor's Office, that went up some on the budget for next year. So that's what will get posted, so you can get to see with your own eyeballs before it goes public. You got any questions? Does anything look out of line?
Great job, Mr. Frazier.
Okay.
Good work here.
All right. So then all the other reports are in the front. Those are our budget software. And the best one is this first one here, which is the second page in the handbook. It's called page 1 of 9, because that's a great summary. So this one here is produced by Ascender, which is our software application. We manage all our finances and student records also. So it shows you here the revenues, 32,665, appropriations, 31,851. And then it shows you the difference for each of these line items. So on the final one, the debt service one, you see there's 700,000 profit. School lunch, 31,000 profit. Y'all see that? Following me? General fund, you have to take all three of those numbers together. Take the 538 and take out the 450, which is going to the athletics. So one's fund 181, one's fund 182. So that's where you're going to get down to about 140,000 profit on the general fund. So this is an excellent summary of the income and the appropriations by like general fund, IS fund, athletics. And then the rest of those reports are just detail of those numbers. And you're willing to peruse those at your leisure. And if you have any specific questions, I would be more than happy to answer them. But he said I had to have it 10 minutes, done in 10 minutes. So.
I gave you another 10.
Did I do good?
That was 13.
13?
I'm kidding.
Okay.
But we went through this pretty good in June, so I think you have a pretty good understanding of what this budget looks like. And I've just explained to you what changes we made between June and now.
Good
And
job.
I'm happy with it. I really am.
The school, the breakfast and lunch food thing looks good.
Yeah, it does.
I mean-
We're trying to spend down that fund balance. We have
Yeah.
almost $1 million fund balance. Can you believe?
The lunch program.
Yes.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of money, probably a couple $100,000 this summer on equipment
Yeah.
and things. You remember that?
Yes.
But, and everybody's happy with all that new equipment they got. They really are. The kitchens are very happy.
It was hard to get on the plus side of the food.
It took years.
Yeah,
It took us years to get that food
yeah.
under control, right?
Mhm.
Okay, any final questions?
Proposed budget total, you're presenting is nearly, it's 31,850.
31 million,
31 million, I can't get the number that.
31 million, 851. It's not billion.
Yeah.
We're not the feds.
That's pretty good budget.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm happy with it, and I hope you guys are too.
Principals, the
Really
athletic
came together.
directors, and fine arts directors are all pleased with this.
Mhm. They'd like a little more, you know, but maybe next year.
Well, and that, the golden pennies.
Or the
would help
golden
with
pennies. We'd
Breathing
still-
room too.
All right,
Daryl, thank
that's
you.
my proposed budget for 23-24.
Daryl did a good job.
You're welcome. Thank you. Everybody participated in this, so a lot of hard work, a lot of staff
Good.
to put these numbers together.
Pass
All right.
on our appreciation.
We need to vote on that.
You got to vote on this?
We need to make the recommendation and then
Yes.
So, management recommends that the board consider the overall framework of this preliminary budget. An updated proposed budget will be presented to the board later in the month for adoption.
Calvin, I hear a motion from Calvin and a second from Mary Ann. Any further questions? All in favor? All right, 6:08, we're going to executive session.